Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
So I have not seen one creator even speak about this, and I feel like it should be spoken about. So the EPA is currently being sued by the Fluoride Action Network after multiple studies confirm fluoride is a neurotoxin that violates the Toxic Substance Control Act and reduces kids' IQ. Now, we all knew that anyway. But over the last 10 days, journalist Derek Brose has been extensively reporting on the trial and uncovering revelations that are truly astonishing. So the evidence suggests that fluoride is a neurotoxin, which means that if FAN wins this lawsuit, it could be removed nationwide. I seriously hope they win this lawsuit because it's about time we eliminated fluoride from everyone's drinking water. I mean, enough's enough.
That's great news. I thought I'd throw that in there so those who aren't aware know that there's some relief coming on that front.
Freemasons wear the M symbol, which is the same symbol for Gmail. The G is the Masonic G. The M is the mother. This is why they wear it in the genital area. The mother makes you into matter. Once you're made into matter, she delivers the male. Women hold a stargate within them. Everyone in this world has come through the mother into matter. This is why the female is so important. 0 and 1, the binary code of all creation. 0's the woman, the 1's the male. The male is the master over the physical world. This is why he is strong. The female is the master of the spiritual world. This is why she is very intuitive and sensitive to energy. The male is electric. This is a penetrating force. Female is magnetic. She attracts. Electric and magnetic, electromagnetism. If you understand electromagnetism, you understand everything. Everything is electromagnetic. It is the real atom.
Kind of get in trouble talking about this stuff nowadays, won't you? That's just another prime example of differences between the males and the females.
I can't describe to you the feeling that it gives you when your son says to you, "Can't you feel it? God is everywhere. I'm going with God. I'm waiting for God to come get me."
I found God. It made me feel quite good, and my mother mistook this good feeling for taking drugs.
I tried talking sense to him. I said, "Jimmy, you don't see God till you die." He couldn't see that at all. He believed that he was seeing it right now.
Before you used the drug, you were afraid of people?
Well, I didn't know it at the time, but I realized that I was when I took the drug.
And why do you think you were afraid of them before?
Because I didn't know them.
Do you feel that you do know them through the drug?
No, I don't feel that I know them, but I'm not afraid of being rejected by them. I don't feel any rejection towards them.
It isn't a happy thing at all or an insight. It's a death wish.
Everything that I see is myself. I'm making it all. I used to be constantly thinking about being afraid of them, but now I don't have to be afraid anymore because they're all beautiful, and whether they reject me or not, they're still beautiful.
If everybody is beautiful, then there's no one who's, say, dangerous. See?
Oh, but the dangerous people are beautiful too. They're dangerous, sure, but they're still beautiful.
Did it seem like to anyone else that that boy seemed wiser beyond his years? There's something about certain psychedelic substances that just seem to rewire the brain and make the person who takes them seem more deeply intellectual. And I use the word seem because some of them yammer on about a bunch of nonsense, but I have met some highly intelligent people who could just sit there in a matter of a few sentences break your brain, and they claim it was from their experiences on psychedelics. I just think that's fascinating.
This is a specific type of photography that captures light energy. I can't reference the type of photography, but you can find it in the comment section below. I really want to explain more about the light body because people can't wrap their head around that you're not supposed to eat meat. You are only to eat food that of which comes from seeds. The only way a seed can grow, it literally has to absorb the sun. The body cannot live without the soul, and the light body transports the soul. Now let me just be unequivocally clear here. The body is electrical. The body needs around 6,500 angstroms of energy to thrive on a daily basis. Now you can get that from fruit, vegetables, going out in the sun, grounding. Vegetables yield around 9,000 angstroms of energy, while fruit does around 12,000 angstroms of energy. Now the system has you brainwashed to think that you need vitamins, a low-calorie diet that's filled with high protein. The body does not need vitamins. The body needs minerals. And what people don't seem to realize is the synthetic vitamins that are on the shelves literally bind to light metals in the body, stripping you of them. Not to mention, water is so smart of an organism, it will seek minerals in the body and bind to them if you are not drinking water that has minerals. If you're not drinking natural spring water, the water will bind to minerals and strip you of them as well. Every single ailment can also be traced back to a mineral deficiency. Living 150 years to me is short, but for other people it seems impossible to think they could even live to the age of 100 because you've been brainwashed. You've been given concepts on nutrition, concepts on living. The system has given you a fictitious scale to dwarf your potential as well as externalize all of your power. When you're sitting here and telling me that I need protein to gain muscle, this is a simple transformation done in 5 months. With absolutely zero protein supplementation, fasting, eating raw fruit, and taking minerals. The only reason why you thrive on a meat carnivore diet is not because the meat is healthy for you, but it's because you're cutting out the sugars, the gluten, and the other starches that are the glue that holds the toxemia in your body. But also meat is loaded with minerals and B12. However, there's a very nasty trade-off when eating meat. It creates a very acidic environment and shuts down enzymes that break down bacteria in the body, causes inflammation on the mucous membrane, and it allows bacteria to thrive. Then we have nutrition specialists saying that the alkaline diet is bullshit because your stomach acid level, but that's not how this works. There's a reason why people get acid reflux because the body's too acidic in the consumption of meat. When you eat and drink things that are naturally alkaline, the enzymes that break down bacteria in the body will thrive, eradicating any illness or ailment known to man. Dr. Sebi proved this, and for the exact reason why I haven't been sick in years. Look, you can believe what you want, eat whatever you want. I just want to give you an alternative just in case shit hits the fan.
All right, I might be too ingrained in the politics of food science, but a lot of that seems like he's really reaching. Like the saying that there's no nutritional value that comes from eating meat, and that the only benefit you get from it is that if you eat a high meat diet, you're cutting out sugars and starches and stuff. Yeah, there's some truth to the second part of that statement, but there's absolutely nutrients and stuff that you get from meat. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, I'm making a new one just like it every single day. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
We've all been getting played. My mind is blown. I just watched something that answers every question about why America, the UK, and France are so staunchly in support of Israel and what it's doing right now. And of course, it has to do with money, obviously. But not what we would have thought of. I think we all would have assumed it was oil. Turns out it's not. Turns out this is what it's all about. This is the Suez Canal. This is owned by Egypt. The Suez Canal makes about $9 billion a year. And where does that $9 billion go to? It goes to Egypt. Egypt nationalized the canal, so it makes all the profit. So who's not collecting on this are the Americans, the British, and the French, and the Israelis. They want to change that. Enter the Ben Gurion Canal Project over here. This is what's happening right now in the Middle East. What we're seeing on TV is all a ploy. It's all about granting access for this canal. The American and Israeli government plan on nuking this land over here to build a canal. They're going to use this land because that land is built out of a rocky terrain, whereas the Suez Canal is built on more of a sandy terrain. By digging through a rockier ground, they would have more likelihood to have a wider canal, allowing two ships to pass each other at the same time, as opposed to one ship, which is presently happening in the Suez Canal. And where do you think that canal empties? Not just in the Mediterranean Sea. The Ben Gurion Canal would empty right in northern Gaza. The Ben Gurion Canal would empty into the Mediterranean at the northern point of Gaza. Northern Gaza. So all we're seeing here, ethnic cleansing, genocide, forcing all of the Palestinians into the south of Gaza. It's all to build this canal.
Wow, the stuff you find on TikTok. You're not going to find that on the news. That makes perfect sense. I'm not going to comment on it. I feel like that would put my entire channel at risk. I know stuff like this right here is being heavily monitored right now, but man, that makes sense. All the pieces just fall right in line, don't they?
Well, guys, it's President's Day. Today we celebrate the birthday of George Washington, our 15th president. What's that? Our first president? No, I'm sorry. That's incorrect.
When I found out there were 8 presidents before George Washington, I wanted to smack somebody.
In 1776, America declared independence from Great Britain. In 1781, the Articles of Confederation were ratified. In 1783, a treaty was signed in Paris where Great Britain acknowledged the United States as a sovereign country. Guys, George Washington didn't become president until 1789. So all these guys were president before George Washington. Peyton Randolph being the first. Well, if you want to get technical, he was just the president of the Continental Congress. But in 1781, Samuel Huntington became the first president of the United States. And John Hanson was the first president to serve out his full term. So then why do we celebrate George Washington as the first? That's a great question. Well, it could be because some considered him to be a god, maybe. Or it could be just like Napoleon said, that history is a set of lies agreed upon. Whatever the reason, I don't know. But he wasn't the first. He was just the most famous.
Again, the stuff you find on TikTok. I had no idea George Washington was not our first president. Blowing my mind.
You never die. You need to prepare for life after death. If you die with mental addictions to lust, food, and power, you will reincarnate. You need to detach from all worldly pleasures. This is why the Bible says, do not love this world nor the things it offers you. When you die, you go into the astral plane. This is the realm of imagination. This is where thought forms manifest into things. When you die with mental addictions to the worldly things, you will be manifested as a demon in the lower astral planes. In the physical plane, you can cover this up, but in the astral, you will manifest whatever you think. The 7 deadly sins are 7 internal states that make you reincarnate after death. Society is molded so that you get addicted to materialism so that you reincarnate. The life and death cycle is manifested every single day, with day and night. Or even the winter. Everything dies in the winter and then is born again in the summer. This is a microcosm of life and death. Physical is phi cycle. Phi is the torus field. The torus field creates physical matter. It's the cycle of the torus field. The link is in the bio for the Book of Wisdom PDF. The physical versions will be available on January the 8th in paperback and hardcover.
When he pulled the Bible into this, it made me think, and I've never had a thought of these two concepts or ideas linking together, but the idea of reincarnation, if reincarnation was real, the Bible says that all ears will hear, the option to come to Christ will be made to all men. I just butchered that, but something along those lines. If reincarnation is real, maybe we're just born over and over and over, given chance after chance after chance to get things right, and that's when we finally die and pass on. It's interesting. I never put those two concepts together and never considered them crossing paths. I just thought that was interesting.
Was the Grand Canyon used as a gold mine? Theory has it that the Grand Canyon was in fact a gold mine, and it contained so much gold that it was actually enough to crash the entire gold market. What's interesting about this theory is that 90% of the caves found in the Grand Canyon are unexplored by the general public due to restrictions placed by the U.S. government. These restricted areas are also protected by the U.S. military. A bit extreme, don't you think? Well, the reason they have done this makes them seem even more suspicious and actually makes this theory sound less of a theory and more of a truthful story. A man named Seth Tanner was out exploring a cave in the Grand Canyon. While exploring, he came across ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs alongside other types of ancient artifacts, such as mummies. Originally, when he came out with this information, it was discredited. But shortly after that, another credible man came out and said he found the same thing, but was ultimately silenced or not taken seriously. Some believe that the Grand Canyon is actually the lost city of gold. Even a plethora of U.S. presidents have tried to mine gold there, but were denied. What's really down there? And what is the military trying to hide?
I think that's an interesting theory. It's a fun one, but one dude named Seth Tanner, which is a very, very bland and very common, I would assume, name, and some other guy who's reputable without his name given is not enough evidence to me to take any of that serious. Now, the Grand Canyon, I think, is vastly underexplored and probably holds a lot of mysteries down there. But will we ever discover any of them? Probably not, because they're not going to let anybody go down there and dig around.
I have a big problem with a lot of today's movies. I had a discussion with a friend of mine recently, and I asked him if he thought that, I won't say the name, but a very popular horror flick, if it was real or fake, and he said, it's fake. And I said, why don't you tell me one of the scenes from it? And he said, okay, and he told me one of the scenes. I said, it's with you, isn't it? It's going to be with you the rest of your life, isn't it? And he said, what do you mean? I said, it's now a part of you. It's now a part of your fiber. And what you watch and what you listen to turns into you. And I think it's important that we start to have some sort of censorship. We've turned that word into a bad word, but it's really, we're kind of jacking our kids' brains up. Yeah. We need to start examining this stuff a little bit more closely. Turn the TV off, just like for a week. What if we just shut down for a week and everybody had to find stuff to do? Yeah. And then we'd really have Y2K, huh?
Yeah. Very wise words coming from the artist formerly known as Prince. When I was growing up, my dad would actually cut the cable off during the summer and make us play outside. We'd be out there even if it was raining, but there was no option to do anything inside the house. And some of my best memories are my summer months growing up. So there's definitely something to what Prince is saying there. I wish that I had the nerve to do it, but man, when the sun goes down, I've got to have something to sit and watch.
I'm going to explain cyberstalking and why people go to the FBI, and a lot of people lately have been going to their phone stores, and your phone store can't explain it. Now, cyberstalking and targeting are hand in hand, and all of it is designed, if you're targeted like I am, to prematurely end your life. Now, it starts off very simply. If they're trying to break up your relationship and move you around and create situationships based on projected income money, they'll start playing ads on your phone saying 10 signs of narcissistic behavior traits. And then on your wife's phone, they'll play 10 signs you shouldn't be with a narcissist. But frequency weapons, the frequency of those headlines, the amount of times you see them, and how all of a sudden they're put into other things kind of hidden, from television shows to movies you scroll, videos you scroll, is what implants the narrative. And they break up relationships that way, But what people don't know is that it's actually creating. AI isn't predicting, it's creating. So you'll notice when you get targeted, your algorithm changes. And your algorithm changes, and then your behavior changes. Because it's actually a creative program designed for certain goals. And the goal can be to break up your relationship. It can be to put you in a mental hospital. It can be to convince you that the whole government's against you. It can be to make you think the Freemasons are evil. It can be to make you think you're a starseed or have superpowers. It can be that everyone's a witch or a devil worshiper. It doesn't matter, because what they're actually doing at the same time to everybody around you, because all electronics are cyber stalked at that moment, is increasing the frequency of the message they're sending you and the message they're sending to the people around you. So a lot of times, if there are any police on scene or medics or mental health professionals, you name it, judges, relatives, kids, whatever, all right? All of them have been primed in advance for this event. Everybody was pumped with different narratives. Now, because they have the ability to cyberstalk you that way, they, the reason why the NSA or anyone has to be involved, period, like they're involved, it's kind of hard to believe that they don't have the technology to wipe the videos or change the feed that, you know, someone would see to hide it. So like the algorithm that you were watching during all these events, it probably switches, and the people who look at the tapes don't actually see your phone records for real. Because if they did, it would be very easy to see the pattern and how it actually pushes people. So like you'll be stuck on one algorithm for a week that's pushing one shame. TV, same shame. You know, the cars and vehicles, shame. They'll shut it off. And then your algorithm will change on your phone. Completely. And you know what I'm talking about. And now the new algorithm is pushing a different narrative in a different direction. I mean, it's diabolical, but it's creating mental health issues, mass shooters, and suicide because they're trying to depopulate us. It's really happening, and it happens to everybody. And they hide it really well, but it's hidden in plain sight. You know, the best thing you can do is make people aware of it. And the more you talk about it, the more they punish you, but everybody has to talk about it or nothing will happen. And that's my philosophy. Love you guys.
That's fascinating. I never really thought about that, how they could use certain advertisements and news articles and stuff and put it in front of you in like your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed or whatever, your X feed, and start to actually influence your opinion on your relationship or your current living environment. Maybe they start giving you jobs, advertising for a nearby city that they want you to move to, start advertising low-cost apartments or something in that city. It'd be really easy to influence somebody. I never really thought about that, but that's fascinating.
That America is the home base for a lost civilization. Once we start looking at the incredible, deep, in-depth similarities manifesting in the symbolism of Moundville, what is odd about it is we find this system of ancient Egyptian ideas in Moundville 500 years after ancient Egypt has gone from the world. The ascent to Orion, the transit to the Milky Way, the journey along the Milky Way. These are very specific and idiosyncratic ideas. And what makes it doubly odd is Moundville isn't that old. Moundville, as a site, is about 1,000 years old. Clearly, it did not get that as a result of direct transmission from ancient Egypt unless they were time travelers. The only way I think it could have got it is as a result of a legacy passed down from a much earlier civilization that had influenced and affected many different parts of the world. And then you realize that you're into a global mystery here, and that the answer to that mystery may not at all be in the old world. And I think America is going to contain revelations for us about our story and about our past. And I'm serious when I suggest,
again, we need to be digging around down in the Grand Canyon. I think that's where a lot of stuff is. I think it would only make sense, even the Native American tribes and stuff, if they managed to get down in there and there was animals to hunt and everything, I mean, it would only make sense that they would inhabit some areas down inside there, the caves, or, you know, next to some of the streams and stuff. It's like an oasis. Even though it's in an area where the sun can be pretty harsh, you don't have as much sunlight hitting you throughout the day because there's the huge canyon walls and stuff to protect you. I can just totally see civilization taken up down there. But guys, that's the end of this video. I'm going to go ahead and call it right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips. I will be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Have a great, safe, fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.